Hey everybody, welcome to the Xbox Infinite podcast. I'm your host, Ricky, and there is no co-host today. It's just me. Jasyn is on vacation, and it's been 2 weeks since we did one of these, so I had to get done whether he was here or not. So, I'm going to try to fly solo today. Hopefully, I don't have too many, moments where I can't think of anything to say and I have nobody to pass it to. Hopefully, we just get through this thing nice and smooth. So, take it from the top. 2 weeks we've been gone. What have I been up to? So 1 week I was on vacation. Last week Jasyn went on vacation, so not a lot of time to get recording done. I've been playing a lot of Fallout 76, and other than that, I haven't really played anything. Um, this week I started picking up the Xbox Game Fest started, so I started picking up the demos on the Game Fest. And so there's quite a bit on our YouTube channel. If anybody watches our YouTube channel or wants to go to the YouTube channel, the Xbox Infinite YouTube channel, there's a lot of it's probably about 7 or 8 demos that I played through. One of them being Destroy All Humans. I played Kung Fu Kickball. I played Ponpu. I played D-Leveled. I played Momentous. I'm just going to throw a bunch of things at you. You're not really going to pick any of that up. I played a bunch of games. Some of them were really fun. I had a lot of fun with some of them. Ended up playing some of them for like 40 minutes. And then some of them I only played for like, 10, 15 minutes. Sometimes the demo kicks you out. Like, Destroy All Humans was, like one level. So 20 minutes and you're done. So that's what I've been playing. That's what I've been up to. I'm thinking about playing Outer Worlds. I'm thinking about playing a lot of things. It's just this is what I'm playing so far. So I'm recording the podcast on Thursday instead of Wednesday. I'm going to upload it immediately afterwards. We'll get back to our regular schedule following this. The thing today was the Xbox event. So there's a lot to cover. I'm going to try to fly through it. I wrote notes the entire time I was watching it. I have 22 notes as far as like news goes. There's no main topic today, like, favorite, whatever, crap, blah, blah, blah. None of that. We're just going to hit the news. And I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go play some games and record them for YouTube. So, right off the top, every game showed on the event is apparently going to be playable on Game Pass. That's very exciting. So the show opens up, right? And Halo Infinite blasts right out the gate, It starts off with a little cinematic. And I thought that was just going to be a cinematic. Then they showed full-on gameplay. Like, I thought they were going to do a cinematic in the intro, and then later we're going to come back and they're going to do gameplay. Not the case. Busted gameplay out right out the bat. So it looks like it's taken some like Ubisoft open world take over the tower elements. So it's a big map for the Halo ring, and then I think there's like several objectives that you can like float your way over to. I don't know. I'm sure more information is going to come out probably even today. But what I know right now is I don't really know what the exact gameplay systems are as far as like I assume it's not an RPG. I assume there's no leveling system. But I don't really know what the benefit of taking these towers is, whether the whole map is open world or if there's certain missions, whether it's you take towers and it upgrades, like Chief's cooldown time on like his shield ability, or there's some really cool abilities in there. Like there's one point where he throws down a shield and he's shooting through it or whatever, and they can't shoot him. It looks like classic Halo stuff though. It doesn't seem like there's a sprint, which is good. It looks really true to the Halo form. It looks absolutely gorgeous. There's wildlife that just moves. So like there's one point where you're coming up an elevator and he's just looking out over the view. And there's like no load screen, which is sick. But he's just looking out over the mountains and stuff, and then birds fly by. Like it's stuff like that next gen is going to be like the immersion of just seeing birds. Like there's in the beginning of the trailer or the gameplay part, there's these I don't even know what kind of animal they are, but there's these animals that are running across in a little pack at Chief's feet. I don't know if you'll be able to kill them or if you get anything out of killing them. But they run through, so that was really cool looking. I don't know. I mean, they do more with that pilot from last year's trailer. I think it was last year. Was it earlier this year? It's been such a long year; it's hard to tell. But the pilot trailer, I think it was at the Jeff Keighley event. I don't remember what it's called. I'm drawing a blank. I think it was at that event. I think it would have been about December. I'm not sure. I don't have it in front of me. Anyway, that game, it's looking sick. Some of the guns look really cool. I think the Banished, I believe those are from Halo Wars. I haven't played Halo Wars yet, but I think they're bringing in some of the Halo Wars lore and really folding that into the main Halo narrative. They did not show Cortana, so I don't know what's going on with our girl. Like, if she take over the world? What's going on? I think she clearly controls the universe at this point. Universe, I guess, is a strong word. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what's going on with Cortana. We'll find out, I'm sure, as more comes out. Okay, so then State of Decay 3 was shown immediately after that. It started off with this chick. She's got a crossbow. She like scopes in on like a dead wolf, I believe, and then a deer's eating the wolf, and it's a zombie deer. Look, it looks really graphically impressive. The thing is it's probably just the cinematic, and I'm assuming the gameplay isn't going to vary that different from State of Decay 2, as far as the way it looks. So all they showed was the little cinematic of that. I don't really know what else to say about it. I didn't really play State of Decay 2, so I'm going to move on from there. I'm talking kind of fast because I'm trying to get through all this. And I'll stop for some of the stuff that I want to talk about more, like Halo. I obviously relaxed a little bit, but Forza Motorsport, they showed a trailer that was captured completely in engine, so the game looks gorgeous. The stream wasn't the highest quality. I was watching the stream on Twitch. I'm sure there'll be YouTube videos of all the trailers in much higher quality because they should have just done it the Nintendo way. Honestly, I'm gonna stop talking about Forza for just a second and just cover the business side of Xbox. I understand that they want everybody to be there and they want it to be an event, and we're all like, oh my god. But the way Nintendo's been handling these things with just posting a video on YouTube, it just makes so much more sense. Like, you don't have to worry about people's buffering being bad. You just pre-upload the video and then make it go live. You could even make it a premiere on YouTube, and then the whole thing goes live like at the same time for everyone, and it's one whole playthrough of it. And then they can just watch it like a normal video. Like, I'm pretty sure that's something you can do on YouTube, and they really should just do these things on YouTube because they're losing so much. Like, when I was watching the stream, I don't know if it was Twitch's fault, I don't know if it was Xbox or Microsoft's fault, but the video just kept skipping back, and it didn't really make a lot of sense to me why you would do, like, if you're gonna do this and you want people to be impressed by next gen, you need to have it down. So I think in the future they really should just make a YouTube video. But anyway, so all the trailers will probably be up on YouTube. Probably already are. So if you want to watch the really high fidelity Forza Motorsport trailer, just go check it out on YouTube. I like Horizon better, but I mean, if you're into the simulation racing of Forza Motorsport, the game looks great. It did seem like they're going back to just calling it Forza Motorsport. Like, they didn't have a number after it. I don't know what this one would be, like 6 or 7 or whatever it is. But there was no number. It might even be 5. I don't know. How far are they in the Forza Motorsports? Again, I don't follow that game. The cars look amazing. The people look amazing. There's like a little bobblehead or something on a desk. Like a little figurine, I guess. I don't think it was a bobblehead. It looks really cool. I mean, the game looks great. It's just not my kind of game. And then, following Forza, they showed Rare, and they showed the new game Everwild, which I believe I said was one of my most anticipated games. I thought it was going to be like a Breath of the Wild style RPG. I still am very unsure what this game is. So they showed a trailer, and the game does look like Breath of the Wild. Like, it's got the cel shaded like art and everything, but I don't know. It was very focused on like animals and being in tune with the environment, and there was some magic. And it looks great. I just don't exactly know what the gameplay is going to be for this game. They went to the devs. Like, a lot of the games they did, they cut to one of the people on the dev team or the lead designer or whoever. They cut to one of the people at Rare, and they were talking about how it's a game where you can explore and really discover the magic for yourself. I don't know what that means. Like, is this a game where I just walk around and look at stuff? Because that's not going to be fun. But, it'll be on Game Pass, so I'm checking it out either way. I just hope I hope it's an RPG, personally. So then, Don't Nod showed a game that people who make Life is Strange, called Tell Me Why. And it's about a brother and a sister, and it seems like they have some kind of like tragic past involving their mom. I'm sure you can expect like a strong story, kind of like Life is Strange. You you make decisions probably. I assume the gameplay is going to be very, very similar, but the way the game seemed like it was playing out was like I don't know if their mom died because I think they go to her grave at some point, and their mom died, and then they went back to their old house as a kid because I don't know, maybe they fell apart, and then they're having these flashbacks, and they're starting to figure out that hey, maybe something's up with their mom. Like there's one flashback where she's loading a shotgun and turns around and points it at the kid. But then, based on the end of the trailer, it seems like maybe there was monsters, and the mom was fighting monsters or something. I don't really know. It seems like it'll be a cool game if you're into that kind of story-based, narrative-driven games like that. It's not really my cup of tea, like I never really got into the Telltale games or anything, but seems kind of cool nonetheless. And then they talked about updating Ori and the Will-O-Wisp. I'm going to take a drink real quick. It's bad podcasting, but I need a drink. High quality H2O. Maybe I'll edit it out, but probably not. I'm lazy. And then they showed DLC for Outer Worlds, which I think was called like Peril of the Gorgon or some crap like that. It looked really cool. There was like swords and stuff. I really just need to get it together and play Outer Worlds. And that's probably what I should be doing instead of playing Fallout 76. So maybe I'll cut my Fallout 76 time down and play Outer Worlds instead. But there's DLC coming. It seems like it'll be cool. And if you like Outer Worlds, you're probably going to like the DLC. I know the Obsidian team. First of all, Obsidian made arguably, a lot of people would argue, probably the best Fallout game with New Vegas. And it really seems like Outer Worlds should have been a hit. I don't know if it was or not. Clearly, they're making DLC, so it's probably pretty good. And then, so the way the show was going, we hit kind of an Obsidian stride. So they got this DLC for Outer Worlds. And then they showed a trailer for Grounded, which had a funny cyberpunk joke intro where they're like, if you want to play the best game of the year, or the biggest game of the year, wait for Cyberpunk 2077. And if you want to play the whatever, and then they're like Grounded because it's small, get it? Because the game's, it's Honey I Shrunk the Kids, but it's a survival game. I'm pumped to play this game. I'm glad it's on Game Pass because obviously Obsidian was acquired by Microsoft. I'm really excited to check it out. I don't know how I didn't realize when I first saw the game that it was Obsidian. I probably saw that like 2 weeks ago, right before the last podcast. I think I saw that it was an Obsidian game. But the game looks cool. It looks like there's multiplayer. They make a joke at one point about how you can team up with friends or feed your friends to the spiders and go solo. I don't know if that's like NPC companions or if that's actually like multiplayer. I'm assuming since they're marketing it as a survival game, it's probably multiplayer, similar to like Minecraft. It looks like there was some base building stuff. I don't know. I think the game looks cool. I'm definitely going to play it. Maybe I'll throw some videos up on the YouTube channel for people to watch, but see if I can get Jasyn to jump in with me. So then, Obsidian's talking. They're like, we're excited about the DLC. And they're like, we think Grounded's pretty cool. And then they're like, oh yeah, and I guess we have another big RPG coming out. So then they drop a trailer right then and there. And these guys are nuts. They never stop working. So they got, I don't know how many teams they have, but I should really do some more research into Obsidian because I honestly just love basically anything they touch. So they got this Outer Worlds DLC. They got Grounded. And then they have this game. Let me see. It's called Avowed. Okay. So it's like a classic fantasy world. There's swords. It starts off with an arrow flying through the clouds, and then it comes down and it smashes through a skeleton. It looks pretty sick. And then it goes into like a ravine or a cave or something, and there's a guy and he pulls out a sword, and then he does this weird magic symbol thing. Kind of reminds me of something off of Dragon Prince. And then his hand glows purple. So they made one of the best Fallout games. It seems like they're making an Elder Scrolls game. Like, not to like take they're obviously brilliant, and not to like try to like boil down exactly what they're working on here into like this tiny little bite-sized shape, but like if you want me to compare it to something off of a 2-minute trailer, it's not even 2 minutes, probably it's probably like a minute and a half trailer. If you want me to compare it to something, I'm comparing it to Elder Scrolls. It's a fantasy game. I'm hyped for it. Their writing is obviously always brilliant. Their gameplay is great. I'm excited to see what they can do in a fantasy world. That doesn't make it not Elder Scrolls, and that's not a bad thing. So it kind of seems like, they made one of the best Fallouts, and now they're gonna make the best Elder Scrolls game that's not Elder Scrolls. Which, I mean, I'm 100% in. So that was the Obsidian block. We hit Obsidian for 3 games in a row. Then they showed this new studio. They're called Interior Night. And they showed a trailer for their game. They're calling it, it's an interactive drama. It's called, what the heck is it called? I didn't write down the name of it. So that is a epic fail on my part. But anyway, it's kind of hand painted like art style. Like they showed some of the artists painting a guy. I was like, I don't know how you're gonna work that into a game, but it seems like it's just a series of stills at how they tell the story. At least it doesn't look like it's animated. So it's like picture of a guy move, like in movement, and then picture of a guy where he's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? It's expected. I expect it's gonna be kind of like a visual novel as far as the story goes. So I think you're gonna make decisions, and then it's gonna play out visual novel style. It seems like it has really good voice acting. The art style is absolutely gorgeous. It's not my kind of game, but if you're into that kind of like visual novel, interactive story kind of thing, like if you're into the Don't Nod stuff, you might be into this. I wish I had wrote down the name of the game, and since I can't pass it to Jasyn, it'd be really awkward for me to look it up. So I'm just gonna move on, and I apologize to Interior Night. Just look them up. You'll probably find it though. Okay, so then the Ninja Theory guys, I think it's Ninja Theory, right? The guys who made Hellblade, they pop up. They, show a little bit of Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2 stuff. They talk about it. They're like, oh, this one's in Iceland. We based this one on Iceland. And I guess there's a behind-the-scenes video where you can check out their location scouting in Iceland. The game looks incredible, like graphically. It looks really beautiful. I only played about probably 30 minutes at Hellblade 1, so I'm probably not jumping in on Hellblade 2 unless I finish the first one. But, I mean, the game looks cool. I don't know what else to say about it. They didn't show anything new, really, other than that they said it was Iceland, and they showed some of their, they showed a picture in real life, and I think they showed it in the game, or vice versa. I don't know, it looks cool. It's just not, there's not much to say, So then, Jack Black's there. There's a video of Jack Black. He's talking to a guy, and he's like, "Oh, you wrote the song, blah blah blah," and then Psychonauts 2 happens, and then it's Jack Black singing the song, and Psychonauts 2 trailer happening, kind of at the same time. So you see a little bit of Psychonauts 2, then you see Jack Black in the studio singing, and you hear it, and it's great. The game looks good. Psychonauts 2 looks like very true to Psychonauts form. I think it's very psychedelic. There's a lot of weird psychedelic stuff. There's a lot of eyeballs popping up everywhere. And there's what's it called? It's called the I don't want to mess it up. It's like Feels Mobile or something. So you can you ride around in this hippie van basically. I don't know. It's very psychedelic. I never played the first Psychonauts, so maybe I should. But Psychonauts 2 looks cool. It looks like Psychonauts. I mean, there's not much else to say about it. I've seen Psychonauts gameplay. That's what Psychonauts looks like. It's just a lot of weird psychedelic stuff happening. And that's it. So then they transitioned. And it seemed like they were going off of, here's our big stuff. And then they're like, okay, here's one other thing. And then after this, it's like, oh, everything after this is console exclusive. I don't know if that means it's going to be on console exclusive forever, or if it's like limited launch. But anyway, so the thing they hit is they said that all Destiny 2 DLC is coming to Game Pass in September. So they talk about that, and that's pretty sick. I'm excited about that because I've been thinking about getting back into Destiny 2, but I don't want to pay for the DLC, and I only have so much that I have on it. So September might be a good time. Then they announced that the Xbox Series X, Destiny 2, 4K, up-res, whatever you want to call it, the optimized version, that'll be on, Game Pass or whatever. So, or, you get smart delivery, however you want to word it. Then they announced that Game Pass Ultimate members can play Destiny 2 on mobile through xCloud. That's kind of sight. That's kind of hype. And then they showed the upcoming Destiny 2 DLC. It's called Beyond Light. Comes out in November. So if you jump in with Game Pass in September, you have 2 months to catch up by November. September, October, November. See, my math is right. I had to check. You have 2 months to catch up before the Beyond Light expansion. So the Beyond Light expansion looks like there's a staff that can freeze people, or not people, but enemies, and then you can shatter the enemies. It seems pretty cool. I was writing a lot of the description while the stuff was on screen, so I might have missed a lot of stuff. I also don't know anything about Destiny or what's going on in the game. So that might not even be a new mechanic, but it looked like a new mechanic, and it looks really cool. So then this is the part where they're like, these are all console exclusives, and they just show a bunch of games back to back. So they showed a game called Stalker 2. It was just a trailer. There were some trees. There was a dude walking with a gun. There's an alien in a tank. I think it was an alien anyway. I don't really know what this game is. Then they showed Warhammer 40k Darktide, which had a little bit more story to it. I didn't know it was a Warhammer game right off the bat because I don't know anything about Warhammer. But it seems like, based on the 2-minute trailer or whatever it was, again, these are all very short trailers, it seems like a first-person shooter. It seems very Left 4 Dead, where you fight hordes. Because at one point in the trailer, they all flick their lights on, and there's just a massive horde of these zombie-looking things. I don't know anything about the Warhammer universe, so I'm sure they have a name, and anybody who's a Warhammer fan hates me right now. Whatever. If it's Left 4 Dead, I'm in. So then the biggest announcement of the entire show happened. And I shouldn't have dismissed these announcements, because this is really... I'm serious. This is huge. This is the best use of the next-gen power I've ever seen, and I'm very excited. Now, this sounds slightly sarcastic, but I actually am excited. It's just not the best thing ever. Tetris Effect. Tetris Effect Connected is what it's called. So they're bringing Tetris Effect to Xbox with a new multiplayer mode. I'm very excited about it. I love Tetris. And Tetris Effect is just the chillest way to play Tetris. So be on the lookout for that. I think they said holiday 2020. I should have wrote down all the dates for all these, or years. Some of them are next year, but whatever. Then they showed a game called The Gunk, which is like a weird space game. It kind of reminds me of, what's that game called? It's on Game Preview. I can't think of it. It starts with an A, I think. But anyway, it's like this weird space game where you, it looks like you're running around, you have this robot arm, you're collecting this like corrupted black stuff, and then maybe you can grow trees. There's alien creatures you fight, I think. I really don't know. They didn't show a lot, and they don't explain anything in these trailers. So it's really hard to like piece together things about things that I don't really know anything about. The game kind of looks cool. It's not really my cup of tea, I don't think, based on the trailer. And then they showed The Medium, which I think we saw a little bit of. We saw like the lady in front of the building, and then like the building turns into this weird like rift or something. I don't know. I think we saw something for it on the last Xbox event. But they showed The Medium, which is a horror game where the main character sees 2 different worlds. So there's a normal one, and there's like a demonic, like evil world. So the important thing about this, in my opinion, is so they said that the worlds are rendered at the same time, and that you can switch between them. And it seems like you can switch between them pretty seamlessly, which I think is just like, even if this game's not like the most amazing thing in the world, it's really cool technology to have out there. Because, I mean, like my brain immediately goes to something like a Zelda game where you could switch, like, think of like Link to the Past, but you could teleport to the past like instantaneously, and you do it in like a Breath of the Wild style game. Like, that's where my brain goes. Obviously, this technology is not being used for Nintendo, but that doesn't mean somebody over at Xbox can't create a game where you're a fantasy knight with a sword and a shield, and then you travel back and past. Like, it's not like, you know, Nintendo has a monopoly on that. So then they jump over to Phantasy Star Online 2, and there's a new expansion for that game coming out next year. I don't really know anything about that game. I know they said something about a new world, so that's probably very exciting for Phantasy Star players. I I have to say that Phantasy Star Online 2 must be doing really well on Xbox. Otherwise, why would they include it? So if you're a Phantasy Star player, you probably already know about this, and you're probably very excited. But still, there it is. And then they showed a campaign for a game called Crossfire X, which looks like a cool, FPS war game. It's got a cool campaign. I think there's a part where they like shoot barrels and they explode and some stuff like that. Like, it seems pretty cool. I don't know what the game is. They said that the multiplayer is free to play, but then it seemed like either the campaign is on Game Pass or you have to pay for the campaign. I don't really know. The game looks cool. It was giving me a weird vibe. So like the game I guess comes out next year, but it also kind of seemed like they were saying it like the multiplayer is already out. I mean, it was very confusing marketing because they were just in the middle of the trailer just popping up little blurbs, and I'm not a big fan of that, but whatever. So then they double down on the whole smart delivery Xbox Series X thing, where they're like, hey, you can download your upgrades for Xbox games. Like if you're playing on Series X, the games will just download the best version and all that. And there's a lot of games are getting updated. Like over 100 games you can play day one on Xbox Series X. Blah blah blah. They talk the whole thing. And then they said they have more to share later this year since they didn't go over all their studios in this presentation. And then they said we have one more thing to show you. And I'm thinking, okay, what's this one more thing? Like you've already shown us Halo. You've already shown us Tetris Effect. You showed us the thing Rare's working on. You showed us State of Decay. You showed us Forza. You showed us everything good that's happening over at Obsidian. Like, what could you possibly have to show us? So then a trailer starts, and there's a fairy, and this fairy looks incredible. And the fairy, and then there's a sword, and then there's flowers, and then boom! The fairy gets eaten by a toad. And it's funny, it's hilarious. And I'm like, no way. So like I see the fairy, and I'm like, okay, it's a fantasy game. What fantasy game's on Xbox? And I'm like, is it Fable? There's no way it's Fable. And then it's, fairy, and then it shows the kingdom in the background, and that's what I knew. I was like, oh, it's Fable. But I guess the real giveaway is the toad eating the fairy. It's very comical. And then the title pops up and it says Fable. So Fable's coming back. Seems like it's probably just going to be a reboot. Like they're just going to, scrap the can and start over. I don't know. Just seems like that way because they just called it Fable. I hope it's just a classic, RPG Fable game. You make decisions, good, evil, all that crap. With comedy built in. I hope they don't try to go Fable, Fable Legends or whatever it was, the multiplayer route. They could do co-op, like Fable 2 and 3, I think had. Maybe it was just Fable 3. They can go co-op, that's fine. I think the world needs a little Fable. I think it's time. I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago now. We talked about it on the show. I think there was a rumor for Fable, and Jasyn and I were talking about how it would be good for Fable to come back. I think it's time for Fable. And then that's basically everything that was announced in this Xbox event. So the main takeaways are obviously the Obsidian stuff and the Halo and the Fable and it's all really good stuff. They did not announce a console price, so we still don't know, to my knowledge. I was off for like 2 weeks, so maybe they would do, but I don't think we do. So we still don't know what the console costs, and we still don't know the exact release date of the console, I don't believe. We can assume, like November-ish. I just don't understand why they don't just do these things as YouTube videos. I really just don't get it. But I believe that's the end of the podcast. I ran for about 30 minutes by myself, which isn't too bad. Hopefully we'll be back next week. We should be back next week. We'll have to come up with a topic, and then we'll just run with it. But for now, this has been your podcast. So like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube thing. Share it with your friends. We really need to grow. I think the last YouTube podcast only got like 2 views. I'll try to make sure I get this one up on iTunes, and I'll try to make sure we don't do another 2-week break because that's really bad for business. But it was good to come in and have some stuff to talk about. I knew I had to get it done. So we're done here. And I'll have this thing uploaded here in, quite a couple minutes. And then we'll be good to go. So I'll catch you all in the next one. Make sure you check out playing demos on the YouTube channel. We got good stuff going on over there. I think I'll be streaming on Twitch a little later today, so just check out all of our stuff. It's Xbox Infinite. You can find it. I might rebrand it. I don't really know. More on that later. Check out the show. Drop like, comment, subscribe. You're all awesome. Thanks for watching.